Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about GPU sales crash that happened in just now, January 2023. So what exactly happened? Something like this does not happen out of the blue. It always have some events that led up to it. So we have to understand a bit of history here. Now you have to understand back in the old days of 2020, the world went boom. It was a gift from China and whole world, and I mean exactly every single country went into worldwide lockdown, and it went for lockdown for years. It started like 1 month, 2 months, then it stretched to 2 freaking years, or in case of China, it stretched to 3 years. So fundamentally, it was some rough time. And then during this time, tech sales went through the roof. Now, that may be like, okay, why? Well, because this new term started to come around, that was work from home. So when people literally started to do this, they realized majority of them have a computer that was very old. Like they may have a computer as old as mine. Like mine is Bulldozer and GTX 10. I'm not even in RTX series. I'm in GTX 1070 series. So they had very old systems, and people are like, hey, now maybe a very good time to upgrade rather than using 5-6 years old computer for my work. How about I get a new system? So they are like, okay, demand went up, work from home. Many people were kind of used to this idea that office is going to give them something, or they're going to work on office equipments and all that. That went out of the room. So fundamentally, work from home created an insane demand of home computers. On top of that, how the heck all those things will work? They will work be relying on cloud. So cloud providers also started to consume hardware like there is no tomorrow. During all this time, the rush of getting new PCs started to go up, and then supply chain got destroyed simply because, well, China did give this world a gift. So unfortunately, China is also a supplier of many of the sub-components that go into a GPU. For example, the core component is the GPU die itself, that is made in Taiwan, but the board, many of those scenarios, those are made in many places, for example, China. And then when the supply shortage happened and lockdown happened, that destroyed that part of the chain. And then the crypto market went to the moon. At that time, everybody started to buy it. So basically, you have crypto market that is buying boatload of it. You have work from home people buying boatload of it, and then you have a cloud computer provider that is buying C load of it. So everybody wanted to buy. So tech demand went beyond what anybody would have thought. And then during this time, scalper thought, whoa, my time to shine has come. And scalper went YOLO on it. Again, be mindful, they could not directly touch cloud providers simply because cloud providers, they have direct phone line. They're like, bro, I'm this cloud provider. I'm going to buy 10,000 GPUs. Nvidia is like, bro, I got you, fam. Of course. So cloud, they cannot touch. Basically, miners, big miners, not really they can touch simply because big miners are generally buying hundreds of cards. So generally, they have a very good line to wholesalers, not even retailer, wholesalers. So they are directly taking truckload of it. So medium size miners and home users, they got ripped off. And scalper and yellow on it, and this created all of these things combined created the biggest chip shortage ever. Now be mindful, chip shortage was like kind of our own fault simply because many companies prematurely shrunk back their orders. That created a demand where there's like, hey, there is a empty slots, somebody to fill it up. Other companies filled it up. Now the company that filled it up, that was like, okay, everything is good and fine. Then the demand spike happened. The moment demand spike, people who canceled their order is like, hey, we want our order back. Like for example, car manufacturers, they're like, we want our order back. And that created a clogging. And this clogging was, again, our own creation. Every foundry that could make good chips, they were making chip 24/7. Generally, you never run any industrial plant at 100%. You never do that because again, you need downtime for maintenance, you need downtime for inspection. They pushed 100% and they were still not able to match it. So that created a sort of even worse shortage because now they were seeing like, hey, if I would have not cancelled my order, I would have gotten my stuff 3 months from now. I cancelled it. Now I have to apply back in the queue. It will take 7 months. This created even more demand for the things that were already available. So shortage became really bad. And MRP became a sweet dream. To give you how different it was, like when I bought my computer, like I was like, yeah, I had just started my job as a game artist. So that time was the GTX 10 series was launched and people were kind of excited about it. That was a good card, and not to mention it was kind of cost effective. And if you can see the whole release event, some person literally shouted, I can afford that. It was like not very expensive, and I bought 1070 literally I think 2 months after launch, very new. And only after that crypto market happened, so I was very glad. So price was like same. I bought it at MRP, and people before that crypto, the price was going down, and that was normal for us. It's like you buy things very quickly at MRP or wait few months, the MRP goes down. Here, MRP became a sweet dream. It's like, whoa, you are so lucky that you got MRP. Like it started to go from 140% of the MRP to 184% of MRP to 300% of MRP to 318% of MRP, and these are averages over multiple sites, over multiple sales events. So be mindful. It was not like, oh, one card was like sold at, no, majority of them were being sold. So price went bonkers at this point in time. And all this led to tech companies, basically companies that were making silicon, insane profit. And people suffered price gouging because of this. So this is how we come up to this event currently. This is how it started. So let's look at Nvidia. Now, Nvidia's GTX 10 series, it was a good series launch. Amazing. There was a demand in the market. The card was genuinely good and people were happy about it, and it was cost effective. Again, I bought it. And then we had RTX 2000 series release. It was a lame launch. Now again, Nvidia did not focus too much on rasterization performance, but they focused on RTX performance. But problem is, RTX is always a chicken and egg scenario. It's like if they have launched the RTX card but there is no game for it, who would buy the card? But if they do not launch the card, nobody would ever develop the game for it. So they were always stuck in chicken and egg scenario. So they just bite the bullet and released 2000 series card. It was lame, but it was very expensive. Again, completely new technology they had to introduce. It did not sell that well. Now 3000, it created a demand because now finally some games have RTX. At this point in time, RTX 3000 series was released. It was good and it was a bit costly. Not too costly, but it was a bit costly. And then the supply shortages hit. Boom. And then the people's worst impulse came to be impatient. You must have seen news of toilet paper shortage. Was there ever any point in United States history that there was a toilet paper shortage, as in like as early as 2020? No. But because one person reacted, another person reacted, and then everybody reacted, it created a shortage. There was no scenario where USA is going to run out of toilet paper. There was just like, it's not going to happen. They have enough manufacturing capability of toilet paper in USA that there should not have been an issue. But it was like human psyche reinforces worst behavior and everybody panicked. And that created a chain event of shortage. Same thing happened here. If every GPU drivers, basically person who's going to buy a GPU card, they were like, you know what, I'm going to apply some brakes. I will buy it if it's close to MRP or if it's at discounted, like at least MRP. I'm not going to settle for 300% off. If everybody was like, you know what, I'm calm. I'm not going to die if I don't have it, the latest and greatest GPU. I can apply the luxury of brakes. And the shortage news was like, okay, if there is a shortage, it's going to be sorted. Sooner or later, it's going to be sorted. But people were very impatient. And that created fertile ground for price gouging because you cannot wait. So people are like, okay, that person is waiting. Let's say there was one person who's like, I'm going to buy it. Hey, 10% of MRP. Now this person is like, but somebody else is like, I'm going to buy it 120%. Now that person is like, dude, if I don't buy it, it creates a psychological feedback. Even though it's not real, it creates that psychological feedback. Now this is why I'm going to pay 150% for MRP to get the card. And now everybody does that. Price goes to bonkers. So price gouging happens. It's directly proportional to people's impatience. There was no reason for this price gouging to happen. It was like, if people were like, huh, really? You want 300%, like all the scalpers, you want 300% of the card? How about you keep the card? Good luck. Keep the card. I'm happy. I'm going to stay. That would have solved all the problem, but we did not. And this, the worst thing that happened is emboldened Nvidia to increase prices. Nvidia is like, hey, why the scalper should have all the fun? What if I have the fun? What if I take the money? So they released RTX 4000 series and the basic cards crossed $1,000. And that's like, I started at $600 and now this puppy crossed $1,000. Yeah, that's big. That's something. And I'm not talking about Titan card. I'm talking about like basically 4070 series kind of card. That was like, at that point, people had enough and they were like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Because whoever already paid for scalper prices, they are like already suffering the consequences. It's one thing to, yeah, I'm going to use my credit card to buy it. And another thing to, how many months I have to keep paying for it? That's the calm down effect is like, yeah, I'm not buying another computer ever again. And that is happening now. The people who paid for the scalper price, they cannot do anything anymore. And people are just done. It's like, dude, there is no point of buying. Like, we used to buy a good computer at $1,000. Not one component of a new computer should be that price. So people are just like, I'm done. Then we come to AMD. Now, AMD CPUs have been doing amazingly well. It went from poor person's option, like me, bulldozer, poor person's option to, hey, it's a good option. Hey, it's really better than Intel in multiprocessing, to AMD 5000 series, which was the first time flat out you are like, dude, don't buy Intel, buy AMD. That was the first time it was like, dude, tangibly there is no discussion. And you can see how desperate Intel became. Intel 10 series, 11 series, 12 series, and 13 series, they were launched very quickly. Like, you would be surprised, like many people don't even talk about, like they're like, oh, I have 10 series, and then randomly go to 12 series. Like, what happened to 11? Like, how quickly 11 was launched and just abandoned, and just like, okay, go jump to 13, and not abandoned, but you get the point. Like, the launches were done so quickly just to catch up to AMD. So CPU department, they were printing money. So at that point in time, they were awesome, but the GPU, not so hot, not so hot. GPU was like, not so hot. Fundamentally, GPU was not hot, but they were working hard. This also gave hope, because all this old series card, basically 6000 series card, they actually kept getting drivers updated. They kept getting polished, and at some point they become good cards. Not awesome, not groundbreaking, but good cards, meaning the people bought it, they bought a average card and it became good card. Not groundbreaking, but good card. So there was a lot of hope that AMD can, if they can polish their 6000 series, that gives a very good precedence that they're going to do that with 7000 series. And Nvidia price was so out of the bounds that people just wanted it. It's like, dude, give me AMD, because he has a deal. While it is true that AMD performance, graphics card performance, is not up to the mark of RTX series card, but it's not like, oh, RTX is gonna render at 100 frame per second and this puppy is only gonna render at 10 frame per second. That's not how bad the difference is. The difference is like 60 FPS versus 50 FPS, or like you will see like CSGO marks, and then it's like looks so huge, and it's like, dude, it's 520 frame per second and versus 135. Do you have monitor that is faster than that? So it was more than good enough. It's like, you can buy it, you can use it. And AMD performance was good, but they also increased the price. They were like, hey, why should Nvidia have all the fun? I'm going to make the fun. That's why I said the people's impatience, the fact that we emboldened scalpers, we basically were emboldening our own suffering at that point in time. That also increased the price, but the card launch was lame. Like 6000 actually went better comparatively speaking. 7000 was just not that good. Now, the biggest weird thing happened is like, we have energy efficiency and all that. The idle power draw of these cards are stupid. They could be drawing as much as 150 watts of power idling. It's like, what the hell? Like, if you needed time, please took time. Like, don't release this sort of system. And not to mention, the overheating issues are coming out that most people are guessing is that because they do not have enough fluid inside their vapor chambers. Again, it's a very minute amount, but it's a very expensive minute amount that they have messed up. So this also created a very bad taste in people's mouth, where they are like, just enough, and stopped. Same as Nvidia, because there is a point where people break. Nobody is infinitely rich. Then we come to Intel, the third person. Now, Intel wants to get into GPU market. Why? Well, you have to understand, from basically 2010 to 2015, we had the era of big data. Everybody was talking about big data. What the hell do you do with that big data? Now is the time of doing things with that big data. This is the time of machine learning. This is the time of creating algorithms. This is the time of crunching big numbers or creating artificial intelligence. How do you do that? You use that GPU horsepower. That's well suited for it. And that's the time where Nvidia started to print some serious money. And Intel is like, hey, I need that some money. Now, does Intel really need it? Yeah, actually need it, because their portfolio diversity is really bad. They make CPUs, and that's it. They tried Optane. They also had some other small products, but none of them were printing money. Again, Optane they cancelled. That was like very big gamble they took on future, that they cancelled. And they also had a different CPU lineup, which they cancelled. And so at some point, Intel was like, haha. And given the fact that AMD was so close to it and actually selling in servers, it was like, oh, ChatGPT, it was using AMD CPUs. So it's a big deal. Like, they are not in a good, healthy position, and they do not have portfolio diversification where that's like, oh, we also do this. We also, like, Nvidia can say, hey, GPU for the gamers, compute cards for our enterprise users. Intel did not had something that was equivalent enough. So they were like, we have to jump into GPU. And it makes sense. Like, if a company that big, you really do not want to be like, oh, why the heck that company went away? Oh, because they were like never diversified, never truly wanted to push themselves. So they really looked into it, and they looked it seriously. Like, they have planned, like, from Alchemist to Battle Mage to Celestial to Druid. Like, they were planning ahead, and they jumped into the market. Now, again, the announcement, the rumors, they were going on for a very long time, and market was primed, meaning if Intel had something that worked at the peak of shortage, they could have literally captured 15 to 20% of market without an issue, because nobody was able to buy anything else. Well, like, dude, it was the most perfect market timing that you could have bought, but they were late. Then they were more late, and that started to show some rumors, some spell some ideas around, and those ideas were, there was some issue with Alchemist because they demanded too much. Basically, almost same thing that happened with Intel. I'm saying Apple's current mobile chip. They are not talking about GPU upgrade. They failed. They tried to do too many things, and it was like they failed to deliver on time. They're like, okay, we have to go back to the old system. Alchemist was trying to do too many things, and it fundamentally failed. Be mindful, this was like AV1 encoding and decoding almost at the same time, where all of the other manufacturers, they were barely giving you decoding. They were giving encoding at that time. So fundamentally, Alchemist was defective on a silicon level. They were trying to do too many things, and then the rumors started to come. The Battle Mage may be also messed up. So because they were trying to do too many things, they were like, we're gonna do ray tracing on the first launch, we're gonna do AVI codecs, we're gonna do H.264, we're gonna do H.265. They wanted to do so much silicon at the first one. It created some issue. So they launched with unfinished driver. Now that part pissed people off, simply because Intel is not new to graphics. Dude, they have integrated graphics. At least their driver should have worked. It's like, I get it. If you are like, hey, barely able to give me 30 FPS, I'm like, good, no problem. At that time, that's how a market was desperate. They would have successfully sold cards if they were only 30 FPS class card. They're like, but they were giving 60 FPS and then they're crashing. That's the worst thing. You do not want a super fast car that is unreliable. You want a car that is reliable. Only reliable cars survive in a race. So fundamentally launched an unfinished driver that pissed people off. And then people were underwhelmed. It's like, dude, you have this and that. And it's like, it just does not work because majority of DirectX you are not supporting properly. And the DirectX that you do support, there are not enough games for it. So it was like frustrated, and the broken driver really pissed people off. It's like, dude, you really needed to fix the driver. And that's why people started to really believe that maybe there is some issue with the silicon. Like maybe something just not done properly. It could happen. Again, these silicons could have billions of connection to maybe a trillions of connection. I would not be surprised if there are faults there. Now, question is, do Metal Mage have silicon level issues or driver level issues? If driver level issues, there is a good chance they could fix it, salvage it, and have amazing comeback, or they may have to cancel the system. And this is the whole point where Intel's rumor, the fact that Intel might cancel the Arc series, started to take hold. And this is very bad for Intel because, again, Intel has cancelled enough of the product lineup where there's like, dude, in future, if they even start to hey, we want to diversify into this, nobody will trust them. Like, it's almost like Google. Like before Google jumped into Stadia, people were like, Google is going to cancel it. don't invest into this. And some people did invest in it, and now they're like, yeet. So fundamentally, Intel is also stuck in that scenario. Now, is it Intel's best interest to cancel this even if it's a loss-leading product? No. Fundamentally, they have to make this puppy work. If they can save a Battle Mage or have some good potential with Celestial, they have to save it because they do not have any product lineup. Not to mention AMD is taking like a giant chunk from their business, and not to mention there is ARM processors that are taking even giant chunks, and not to mention there is a RISC-V that is slowly coming to take everybody's lunch. They need some parallel backup options where they're like, dude, we tried Optane, it did not went anywhere. We tried this with this, like not in a good healthy situation. They need this. They need Celestial to work. Like, and again, it's also important for their future, because like even in future they're like, hey, we're gonna launch this product. People are like, no, I'm not gonna trust you, because be mindful, anybody who's buying this sort of cards, they're taking faith, they're taking a leap of faith. There's like, will Intel support it? Will Intel not support it? Because right now the card is broken, but maybe they can be salvaged with good drivers. But what if Intel just like yeet? Then now you have actual paperweight. So let's see what happens with Intel. But again, this also broke people where like, I'm done. So all these events culminate into the crash of 2023 of January. Now, this is the breaking point where people just like, I'm done. And if market does not recover, be mindful, we started from here. The peak was around, let's say 2007, 2008, and then it was slowly declined, and it started to go up around early 2000, basically 2020 and 2021 it started to go up, then it started to go down. Now, here's the deal. If this keeps going on, if people are just like, I'm tired, I cannot trust Intel, because again, Intel is not behaving in a way that was like, I got this, I got your back. Intel has to do that for its own future. They have to do that. They have to have a different product. They have to have a scenario where it's like, dude, if you are building a product, you can be damn sure it's gonna be built. And Nvidia has to be like, we can't just keep increasing price, because at some point people are like, dude, I get it, like, mine's bigger than yours at some point, but like, bro, it's just a GPU. It's not worth $1,000. It's like, I'm not that rich. Not that many people are that rich where it's like $1,000 for a GPU. And then you buy a $2,000 computer. Then you are like, okay, I'm going to enjoy it. And then you're going to be like, huh, they released a 5000 series card, which is like at half price can beat its performance. At some point, people just, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. So if this does not recover soon, as in like next 3 to 4 months or 1 quarter, big players would be in big trouble, specifically the inventory department. And there is a very good rumor going around that the primary reason why 4000 was a bit overpriced was just to clear out the inventory of 3000 series, because people were like very impatient. All the people sold a lot, bought all the cards, but there was still demand for it. But that reached a very critical point where they're like, dude, I already waited 1 year for this card. If I wait 1 more year, or like a few months from now, I'm going to have a 4000 series card. Why not I just wait? That created an inventory overflow. And that's a really bad situation for any companies. They do not want inventory overflow. So there was a very good rumor going around that that's the reason. And there may be some truth to it. I would not discount it completely, but there would be some rumor to it. It's like some percentage of price hike is from there. But let's say people just like, done, I'm done. I'm not going to buy GPU. And like $1,000 is just not worth it. I'm like willing to buy a gaming computer for $1,000, not one piece of a gaming computer for $1,000. It's like at some point it's just like, no. So this will happen. GPU inventory over. And the moment that happens, price cut will happen, because if they don't, now they have the same problem. It's like, hey, if we are not able to sell 4000, how the heck are we going to sell the 5000 series? And not to mention 5000 is already on pipeline. Same way Intel is already like 2 generations ahead. Nvidia already has that. AMD also has that. So if they do not move the inventory, they will be stuck. Like very big, these things are expensive. To keep them in stock, it's expensive. It costs money. They have to remove it. So the only option at that point would be lower the prices. So if people hold out for 1 quarter of 2023 or 2 quarters, very good, price is going to come down. And I mean really come down. Be mindful, crypto has also crashed from GPU point of view, because they are moving from GPU crunching to proof of stake. So GPUs are no longer useful. So whole markets are getting flooded by second-hand GPUs. And if first-hand is so idiotically expensive that you can buy 2 or 3 of second-hand, you're going to buy it second-hand. At some point, it's like a warranty. What the hell is the warranty? It's like, I can't afford that. I'm just going to buy this. And if it crashes, I'm going to buy another one. So if people continue, that graphs keep going down, inventory cost will force them to cut the prices. Not quickly, but it will happen. It could happen if we hold tight. Now, be mindful, I've seen a very weird thing, primary weird thing, and I'm like talking about Indian sites, where like Indian sellers that are from Bangalore and Goa and Pune and all that jazz, they're selling 3000 series card at higher price than 40 series card. Do not fall for that. Do not be that stupid person that buys 30 series card at the price that is higher than 40 series card. Don't be that. Why? 40 series card will get 1 extra generation of driver support if you buy them today. And if you buy them today, you will also get AV encoding, which is becoming an important thing, from Twitch to Amazon to freaking Netflix to freaking YouTube. Everybody is switching to AV1. Wouldn't you like to have AV1 encoding? You can only decode on 30 series card, encode in 40 series card, and you will also get longer life, like driver life. That is important. So do not buy that. And not to mention, there are also performance gap, and not to mention energy efficiency. Meaning, if you undervolt 40 series car, you can run them at very low power and get similar performance to 3080 or even 3090. So fundamentally, don't be that one. If you are getting 30 series card for low price, GG. If you're getting 30 series card that is more price than 40 series, then you are stupid. Don't do that. Just no. Or just hold out for 4 or 5 months. So crash, let's see what happens, because if that line keeps going down, the prices is going to come down. Because again, at inventory point, people are like, bro, we have to clear the inventory. So this was my presentation on the GPU crash of early 2023. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.